Matthias Maurer. I will be mission specialist on the NASA Spacex Crew 3 mission to the International Space Station. I was born in Germany. I grew up there, and for the first 20 years I actually stayed in the more or less the same area. I was an ambulance driver for almost 2 years, and I also financed my studies later on by working on the weekend. I studied 2 years in Germany, material science. Then I went for a year to the UK, studied there material science, and discovered how much you can learn while being in a different country. That was a huge inspiration for me, and I decided to keep on learning more languages and continue in different countries. In 2008, ESA started the call for new astronauts. Out of 8,500 applicants, only 10 candidates passed all the tests and were considered suitable for astronauts. I was one of them. I was always fascinated by space. And what does an astronaut actually do? So an astronaut works with a lot of engineering stuff. We do science in space. We work in international teams. And the adventure that we are able to live as astronauts, in a combination of these 4 facts: engineering on the edge of what is possible, science, international teams, and adventure that's only possible as an astronaut. I think Crew 3 is a kind of a rookie crew with only one experienced spaceflyer, Tom. But on the other hand, I don't feel like that we are rookies at all. Raja has a huge background in flying. Kayla, she has a huge background in working in a very difficult and highly technical environment. I don't consider both of them rookies. I believe we are an extremely good team, and after a few days in space, I think we will be there and it will be our environment. Once we arrive on the International Space Station, we will run a lot of experiments. My focus will be lots of experiments in the material science domain. The name of my mission is Cosmic Kiss. It's a declaration of love to space, and especially to the 2 only oases that we have in space, our beautiful planet Earth and the International Space Station. The patch is inspired by Guides of Nebra. It's a 4,000-year-old disk that was found in Germany, and it shows to me that people already 4,000 years ago watched the night sky and were fascinated with the universe. And they probably asked the same questions that we ask ourselves. How did the universe start? How did life come to our planet Earth? Is there life somewhere else in the universe? There's a huge number of people in Europe, in the US, in Russia, in Canada, in Japan, all those people that contribute that human spaceflight is actually possible. I want to say thank you to everyone who helped me to arrive at that point that I'm today. I will be thinking of you when I fly to space, and I send all my love to you down on the ground.
Great hearing from Matthias Maurer, especially is inspiring how he worked as a paramedic to pay for his schooling on the weekends.
Such a diverse background, which is what we need as astronauts. We need people with all kinds of skills. So
true. He calls it a rookie crew, but, you know.
But they bring a lot of experience, so rookie in name only, I think.
We're looking live now at the base of Launch Complex 39A, the base of the launch pad itself. Those elevators, the same elevators that took space shuttle astronauts up to the top of the launch tower. And we're expecting an announcement any moment now that the crew is on the pad. We'll see them walk up to those elevators, but oftentimes it's interrupted, maybe it's planned, by a little look up at the rocket.
Yes, the crews definitely want to take one last look at the rocket before they go climb inside. And so you will see them sort of leaning back and looking up. And the reason they lean back is, again, you don't have much maneuverability in those suits when you're standing up.
Not a lot of maneuverability, but a lot of protection should something happen in space.
Absolutely.
As we look at the elevators there is a specific path that you must take to get to the rocket, and you're looking at some of the shots of inside the launch tower. And Shannon, it's not a kind of find your way or even have anybody lead you. You've rehearsed this a number of times.
You do. You do come out and practice getting your suits, going out to the launch pad, so you know what needs to happen the day of launch.
And what are the white chevrons on the floor that we see there?
Those chevrons are actually part of the safety system that we have on the launch pad. So if anything should happen while the crew is out there by themselves before they lift off, and they need to exit the capsule quickly, those chevrons will give them the direction that they need to run or walk quickly. We don't really want them to run in their spacesuits and hurt themselves, but it could be dark, it could be you might have fog, rain, smoke, who knows. So you just need to make sure you are heading the correct direction.
And they stand out brightly against that black background. And there is the Dragon capsule.
Won't be long until there's crew inside.
It certainly won't. And you can see the systems that are connected inside. Those are temporary until they get them sealed up.
That's right. So you've got that hose going in there is providing some air circulation to keep everything temperate for the crew. And once they're inside, then the crew will hook up to the systems of the Dragon, and they will get air flowing through their suits.
Very good. They pre-chill the engines with fuel, and they also pre-chill, now I know, the capsule.
They pre-chill the capsule, absolutely.
It's called the White Room, that area right there, and there's a lot of history behind that room as well.
Yes, that is the room that all the shuttle astronauts were in before they stepped into the shuttle for their flight, and so we have the same White Room in use for the Dragon flights.
Once again, we're back at the base of the launch pad with the elevators, and we should see the astronauts walking in at any moment now.
Yes, any moment. What's interesting about the trip up for the Dragon versus the shuttle is the shuttle is actually, the ingress was a little bit lower down than we have for the Dragon. So you'll see after they step out of the elevators, the crew actually has to go up a flight of stairs. Look, I see one of the crew members
and
right
there
now.
Comes the first two astronauts.
Looks like
Commander
they're gonna...
Raja Chari and pilot Tom Marshburn.
Yep, and it looks like they are going to take a look at the rocket. There they are, bending back, looking up.
Having a little chat as they look. At about 2 hours and 35 minutes, in just a few minutes from now, the astronauts will ingress or climb into Dragon with the assistance of the suit techs that you have seen right next to them all along. They'll help them get buckled in. Getting a nice good gaze.
Yes,
looking up.
good look. So now they're heading to the elevators for their trip to the top.
It is nightfall here at the Kennedy Space Center, and we had clouds earlier on. It's a little harder to see, but the misty rain that was coming down earlier, Shannon, and managed to blow in here on the host desk a little bit, that stopped, and that's a good sign.
It is a good sign that the rain has stopped.
They've made, of course, upgrades to Pad 39A over the years. In the 1960s, of course, it launched the Saturn V for the Apollo program. It was then upgraded to support the space shuttle. And then Spacex took a lease of it in 2014. And the first flight after it was reconfigured was a CRS flight in February of 2017.
Yes.
And there they are, popping up from the elevator, having a look around.
That's right, and you'll see them head to the stairs to go up one more level with the suit techs and the team following behind.
And exactly what you mentioned, this is the additional flight that they must take to get to the top of Dragon. And it looks like Stephanie Wilson is in their group.
Yep, she will be there with the crew just as long as possible to aid them in any way that they might need.
The mission specialists, I understand now, are also in the elevator and headed on their way up. And in this particular view, Shannon, we know that there's a telephone there to the right of the pathway.
That's right. So when they're up at the top of the launch pad, the crew will actually get an opportunity to call their families. And so someone's got the phone numbers. They'll be dialing for the crew and hand the phone over to the crew member. And I have to say, it's a little bit hard to hear because you've got that helmet around you. So it's not like you can get the phone right up to your ear.
And it's got big buttons. You showed me a picture on your phone.
Yes.
I appreciate, maybe it's if for those who have gloves on, still manage to punch them.
Exactly. We want to make sure those phone calls happen.
This is a split screen view that we just saw as you see the mission specialist, Kayla Barron, and Matthias Maurer making his way up the steps there, and they are all gathered now on that 255-foot level of 39A.
Yes, and so they're waiting either for the phone calls or for their cue that it's actually time to ingress the capsule.
And now that we're here at the launch pad and at the top, it's a good time to introduce you to the team that would lead a rescue operation in the case of an emergency. Let's take a look.
Safety is critical. We're in the business of launching people into space, and it is a dangerous job, and we want to make sure that the people who are going on the rocket know that their lives are in good hands. My role is to make sure all ground operations run smoothly. We take human spaceflight safety very seriously, and we are ready to jump in at a moment's notice with a team of fire rescue, decontamination, triage, and medevac forces ready to respond at a moment's notice. We're there as a specially trained group of folks because these people are inside the blast danger area. And it's called that because they're operating next to a fully fueled rocket. NASA prides itself on putting safety first and foremost, and we've got a great record of that. The fulfillment that comes from seeing that rocket lift off the pad, there's no feeling like it.
One of the really cool features of Dragon is that it can fly itself. Here's a look at the team responsible for making that happen, as well as programming Dragon's crew displays.
The Dragon software team is responsible for all the code that lives on the vehicle to be able to fly in an autonomous way. Autonomy in the vehicle basically means that Dragon can fly itself. Dragon is able to take a set of inputs, make a decision, and then output those things to a particular system. So we put a lot of brains or a lot of code onto the Dragon capsule directly to be able to fly to the station and back. We're also responsible for all of the displays code, so all of the software that lives on the displays and through displays that the astronauts are using. There's a lot of information available on the displays overall. There are overview plots of all the major systems that fly on Dragon. So for example, the propulsion system, the thermal systems, the life support systems, the avionics systems. We provide block diagrams available for the crew to be able to get a general sense of awareness of each of these systems, their health, their status, if there are any faults or failures. So we write all of the code, and then we also validate it and test it to make sure that it works in the ways that we expect before launch.
It's fascinating the effort that goes into making that software. And there's a view inside the crew access arm, Chari, Tom Marshburn, as they make their way looking out the windows towards their spacecraft. It's a great shot inside that.
That is a great shot.
That access arm.
And there they are approaching the end. The capsule's just
white
off to their
room,
left.
Right?
Yep.
There's a
white
little
room.
tradition that happens inside there.
Yes, we will sign the wall of the white room. Got to make our mark.
And they're starting to do that there and getting a little guidance from one of the closeout techs.
All stations
If you're
core
just
on
joining
countdown.
us.
Pilot and commander have arrived at the White Room. We are 10 minutes ahead of schedule.
The announcement of arrival. If you're just joining us, you are watching live coverage of NASA's SpaceX mission known as Crew 3. Good evening and welcome to the Kennedy Space Center here in Florida. I'm Daryl Nail, along with a recent passenger aboard a SpaceX Crew Dragon, NASA astronaut Shannon Walker. Thank you for being here.
Absolutely. I am so excited to be here tonight.
You've given us some
Finally!
great insight. And not only that, I get to watch a launch with an astronaut, which is pretty cool.
I get to watch a launch too, so it's all good.
It's all working out.
Oh,
So
you were
are
watching
the first two
hentai, okay.
astronauts, get ready to board, and there's been some mist out there, so we got to dry off the helmets.
Yes,
Yes,
as I said
and,
previously, you don't want to
And
have
you
a
did.
wetsuit
I didn't. And
when you get
I'm
into the
failing.
capsule,
No,
so
not
the
November
tech
tonight. I'm
there
just kidding.
will make sure that everything
Imagine
is just right
failing.
before the crew gets inside.
Okay, I just have a question. Okay, so can you see my camera? Okay, I'm gonna flip the camera because I look ugly as fuck and I don't want a computer screen. Okay. So hold on, let me turn on the PC. Oh wait, I have my power thing off. Okay. So I just want to tell you if you think my setup's good. So I have the power brick. and then I have the desktop. Well, yeah, Jesse, I have like 7 different plugs. Okay, now look, if I shut it off because my dad was using the power drill, and I popped the breaker because we had so much stuff plugged in, so I had to like switch it off. Okay, anyway, so like I'm gonna turn on the PC, and so I just want to show you the Epic Gaming setup. It's dirty, but we have the American Megatrends PC, and then this monitor's not on for some reason. Second,
And good
I'm gonna
evening,
go plug in
all.
that
Loud and
monitor
clear. Welcome to Endurance.
under the desk.
All right, for now,
Oh,
let's
no wonder why it's not working. The fucking VGA cord's
have a
unplugged.
communication check there, and we'll watch Tom ingress.
Oh, we're
the Dragon
streaming right
capsule
now?
Carefully. Watch your head.
Yep, watch your head, watch the
I've been
seals.
streaming.
And hello there. Sorry it took me so long. 20 minutes. But crew, it looks like crew's ingressing. We are going to have a guest on the stream shortly. But yes, so Crew Dragon launching from LC-39A, and I forgot to configure one thing. I forgot to configure this. So this is from LC-39A. In Cape Canaveral, Florida, Crew 3. So, I'm going to be right back. Just give me 1 second. Okay, I am back stream, and we are having our guest on right now. Say hello.
Yeah, I'm hello. I'm not really like a guest because I'm on here all the time.
Shut up.
Go follow my YouTube channel.
Hey, I can mute you right away. Yeah? Okay, one sec. Okay, you're unmuted now. Don't you dare say anything about your YouTube channel. But this is the Crew 3 launch. Pardon?
Nothing.
Anyways, it looks like we have crew ingress on Crew 3, crew enter Dragon, and I believe we have comm check, so if I just, let's tune in for a second.
So those are the people?
Into launch position, they'll be able to see those displays much easier.
Oh yeah, what kind of launch is this, by the way? Like SpaceX?
It's a SpaceX launch.
Oh, okay, so it's Mr. Tesla Man.
So yeah, T-minus 2 minutes and 32 minutes until launch currently. Crew Dragon is go for launch. By the way, if you notice, this is actually a brand new Crew Dragon, brand new design.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, it's got, instead of like the NASA meatball here, it's got the NASA worm. Anyways, you were saying.
Right, quick question. How come literally every rocket ever looks like a, eggplant?
Shut up.
But it's true, though, and I didn't say the word. At least I said
to be fair, this one doesn't, actually.
Okay, it kind of does, but I just really
No, it's literally straight up. It doesn't, like, get wider or thinner.
I know, but the tip of it does. I'm very dirty-minded. I have brain damage, probably.
Okay, Liam, I have to go for a walk, sadly.
Oh, well, do you want to just stay on stream and I'll just, like, self-promote my YouTube channel while you're gone?
Yeah, go ahead. I'm gonna mute my mic. You can just talk to my stream. You can research stuff if you want, Hey, tell them information. And when I'm back, tell me if the comms check has happened, if they've closed the hatch and whatever, okay?
I don't know what that means, but sure, yeah, I'll tell you.
Okay, because I have to update the launch timeline, if you notice.
Okay.
If you go onto my stream, which I can link it actually right now for you.
I mean, but how am I supposed to talk and be on the stream?
Wait,
I can do that.
Yeah, you can do that. Okay, I'm gonna give you the stream.
Yeah, give me the stream so I can, like,
go I just sent it to you.
I'll totally not promote my,
Yep, definitely not. Go ahead, promote your YouTube channel. I don't give a shit.
Oh, wait, that's the live stream for the SpaceX.
Yeah, no, this is the one that I'm streaming, though.
Oh, well, I don't hear you talking. Oh, I do hear me talking. It's just very, very quiet because I'm in a call. Right.
Okay, well, go ahead, self-promote you, and I'll be back in a good 20 or so-ish minutes, so they should have done... In fact, they're doing comm checks in 10 minutes. They're doing comm checks in 10 minutes.
I'll have a good, decent time to go, promote my YouTube channel.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. I'll be back.
Okay. Alright. Okay, so, there are 2 viewers in the stream, so whoever's the other viewer, there's, like, this place, like, on YouTube. Are you kidding me? You fucking left? Oh, whoops, I said the no word. I mean, who left? Why? Oh my god. I killed off the only viewer. Like, I killed off the only viewer. Wait, actually, am I I'm the only other viewer, I think. Oh god. Like, I can't wait till Jesse gets back. I gotta explain to him that I killed the chat. I killed the chat, guys. Yo, straight up killed the chat. Yeah, guys, so I'm yeah, RIP. RIP chat. I killed the chat. I single-handedly killed the chat. I'll still self-promote my YouTube channel in case anyone like happens to watch this stream after. But just like so yeah, channel Fire TNT videos on YouTube, FYRETNT. That's how you spell it, and yeah, go subscribe if you're watching this in the future. If Jesse saves his streams, I don't know. Um, yeah, go sub to me. Just even though there's no one watching this, that'd be pretty nice. Just literally, like if someone watches this in 10 years and I'm like 27, I don't actually know. Yeah, I'd be like 23. If someone goes and watches this in like 10 years because like people do that, yeah, go give my channel a sub. Yeah. So yeah, I literally just like straight up murdered the chat. So let me see if I can play some non-copyright music. Oh wait, I don't have Wi-Fi. I can't play the non-copyright music. Can I play the non-copyright music? I might be able to play it on my laptop. No, I do not have Wi-Fi. I cannot play non-copyrighted music unless I can get Wi-Fi. But we all know that's a fat chance. Me getting Wi-Fi is about as common as I don't know, finding a $700 Pokemon card. I don't know. I'm not good at this. I'm a crappy streamer, but I'm trying to think. Alright, fam. So I'm doing my thinking here. Just wait while I find some non-copyright music on YouTube. But my laptop's being hella slow. Ow! I just stepped on a Lego. Like actually, just stepped on a Lego pretty hard. I will find something of entertainment. So, I just hit my knee. I am just like dying here. Okay, let me see if I can connect to the Wi-Fi. I gotta entertain you guys somehow, so I'll just play like non-copyright music. Okay, I got Wi-Fi. Let's go. Okay, fam, I got Wi-Fi. So I think that means boogie time. So let me just like get some Wi-Fi going, and let me just pop open Google, and I'll play non-copyright music through my laptop speakers, or I'll just find something. I don't know. I'm just gonna hop on YouTube and ooh, someone's actually viewing the chat. Yeah, whoever is in the chat right now, whoever's watching it, oh, they left. Okay, so if anyone does happen to pop on stream, I am just a placeholder. I'm not actually the one who is on this channel. I'm just kind of Discord calling whoever owns this channel, Jesse. Yeah, I'm just replacement while he goes and takes a walk. So yeah. I'm just gonna See, the only problem is when I'm streaming, the viewer comes and there's about a 30-second delay from what I say. So by the time the viewer hears what I'm doing, I am saying random crap. Jacob, please go away. I'm handling Jesse's stream while he goes and takes a walk. Jesse's live streaming and I'm covering for him. And yeah, and I'm just trying to find music, so please go away, Jacob. You know you're not even down here? Alright guys, I'm just like gonna 1 sec. I didn't touch it. I'm just live streaming and You don't have it? No. Mom took it or something. What is all this stuff? I'm putting. Just go away. Go away. Alright, everybody, I'm on YouTube. Just tell me, like, what, song you guys want. I just gotta find some non-copyright. Let's just, Scarlet Fire. No one's even on the stream. I'm just playing music. Okay, so I just noticed that my noise canceling is turning off the music. So 1 sec while I go turn off noise canceling. I just gotta go in settings real quick and turn off and then turn off things. So 1 second, guys. Yeah, so let me just go. I'm just gonna talk over this while I go find some music. Or not when I find music, I just gotta turn off my, my thingy. The, what's it called, you know? Noise suppression, there we go. So it is still having noise canceling, so we're just gonna turn off the auto sensitivity. You know?
Okay, I'm back, and apparently our guest had to go. So, yeah, but we have had hatch seat rotation. We have had hatch close at 1 minute and 55 seconds. Crew Dragon is currently preparing for launch. Still. I've got myself a water right now. So let's tune in and listen for a second.
Attaches to the wall of the International Space Station, and it has some LED lights that light up, and then that gets used in combination with the sensor to maneuver the Astro Bee that you mentioned. That's the free-flying robot on the International Space Station. There are actually 3 of them, and you're going to test 5 different maneuvers with 1, 2, and even all 3 of the Astro Bee robots at the same time. Is that right?
That's exactly right. So these beacons will be attached, some of them to the wall or some of them to the payload compartment on the Astrobees, and they essentially will be used as navigation beacons to execute a number of formation flight maneuvers and to demonstrate capabilities of SBGS and its accuracy.
So how can you use this technology if these maneuvers are successful, if they do what you expect them to do, what you hope they will do? How can you apply this technology in space and to help improve our lives here on Earth?
So the expectation is we have many potential applications for SBGS in the space context. Right now we're working with Marshall on
I'm just gonna
landing
hide
mission,
the launch
in which
timeline for a
one of the
second just to
possible
do
applications
something.
of SBGS in space is to serve as beacon for planetary landings. As you probably realize, every time that a probe or a robot is dropped in a planet, one of the biggest issues is how to know accurately where it lands.
Sure.
So planetary landing is a big challenge, and SBGS is one of the potential technologies that could be used for that. But besides that, SBGS can be used for formation flight of small spacecraft. One of the trends in the future of space exploration also includes that instead of launching large spacecraft, it is much more cost-effective and robust to launch.
So yeah, there is a German guy on this
that
launch,
then need to be
apparently.
oriented relative to each other at a relatively short distance. So SBGS is a strong
Maurer
candidate to fulfill that role. But so within a space application,
the ESA astronaut
the potential
in the
uses of
description. I
SBGS
can't
are
be bothered
for
to look right now.
proximity maneuvers, formation
But
flight.
that's pretty cool. This is, I
landing.
believe this is one of the.
But besides that, we're very
Like,
excited
I don't know if this
that
is the
SBGS
first
can
German
also be used
astronaut
on
the
Earth
ISS. I believe
for
it's
similar
going to be.
applications where you need
And if the
robots
UK
to cooperate between each other to
I know there's been.
dock or land if it's a drone, for
Or no,
example.
the first
Picture
German
in
guy
the not too
in.
far future, you can put your beacon at your doorstep, and a
Crew
delivery
Dragon.
drone will drop the package
I
right where
believe
the
it's
beacon
going to
is,
be the first
you know?
German
And it can
person
save
in Crew
significant
Dragon.
effort to a delivery person who has to go up just 3 flights of stairs or
Sure.
something like that. you know?
Just have the drone drop it off.
Picture it in New York. So there are a number of applications.
And
we
if you
want
guys
to
wonder
go into
how
a
I do
commercial,
the
explore the
launch
commercial
timeline, I
possibilities
just
of
use a Google Slides.
developing a commercial version of SBGS
So-
that can be integrated with robotic platforms. And
I find that the
All right,
easiest
Dr.
way
Hector
to do it.
Gutierrez, thank you so much. Best of luck with the smartphone video guidance sensor experiment on Crew 3, and we'll be watching and following along, and enjoy the launch.
Thank you very much. A pleasure to meet you.
Thank you, you too. Daryl, we'll send it back to you.
All right, Marie, thank you. Here's a closer look now at some of the life-changing science astronauts are performing aboard the International Space Station.
The International Space Station is a state-of-the-art microgravity laboratory that is unlocking discoveries not possible on Earth and helping us push farther into deep space.
Every single day, we are answering big questions about Earth and about space, about where we came from and about where we're going. But the other thing that we're doing is we're learning more questions to ask.
Microgravity turns almost everything we know upside down. Liquids behave completely differently. Fire burns in new ways. Biological systems reveal surprises.
There's a few things that have made me gasp out loud up on board Space Station. Watching heart cells actually beat has been a pretty big one.
We're studying ways to grow food in microgravity.
I got to tell you, these are pretty amazing.
We're learning how human bodies react to life in space and how to keep crew members safe and strong on long-duration exploration missions.
Deadlifts are awesome on Earth. They're also awesome in zero gravity.
We're testing technologies that will be critical to our return to the moon and Great Leap to Mars. Our research has contributed to medical and social benefits on our home planet, allowing us to find new ways to combat disease back on Earth and develop technologies to deliver clean water to remote communities in need. The spectacular vantage point of more than 200 miles above our planet supports our monitoring of Earth's climate, natural disasters, and plant life.
Our planet Earth is absolutely stunning. To me, it doesn't matter where we are in the world. I just see beauty in different ways.
The growing new space economy, so vital to our continued progress in space, is flourishing in low Earth orbit. We're inspiring future generations from a platform that is one of the largest international collaborations of our time. We're doing science at 17,500 miles per hour. Come along for the ride.
And Shannon, you were a part of that ride, doing that science at 17,500 miles an hour.
Yes, I was.
And it looks like they're going to have a busy time up
So I
there.
believe that's
I
Shannon.
think so. There's so much
from
science to be
Crew 3.
done. The ground crews do a very good job of keeping
Crew 1
on board, scheduled the entire day doing that science.
Taking advantage of every moment. As we look live inside the Dragon capsule, we are T-minus 1 hour and 44 minutes until liftoff. We are here with Shannon Walker, NASA astronaut who flew on Crew 1, watching Crew 3 prepare to get ready for their flight. And it appears they haven't been very chatty.
No, they haven't been very chatty. I guess it's a quiet crew.
It's a quiet crew, and that's just fine as they prepare for their liftoff. Crew 3 is scheduled to arrive to station just days after astronauts from Crew 2 return home from a record-setting space flight. Take a look at this. At 10:33 p.m. Eastern Time, the view looks a little similar. This is Crew 2, though, safely splashing down in the Gulf off the coast of Pensacola. There's a view from the infrared camera as the parachutes opened up. The crew of Shane Kimbrough, Megan MacArthur, JAXA astronaut Aki Hoshide, and ESA astronaut Thomas Pesquet, they landed safely, splashing down there in the Gulf.
Splashdown of Crew 2.
As the parachutes came down around them. They spent 199 days in orbit, Shannon, surpassing the previous record of 168 days set by Crew 1 astronauts, of which you were a part.
I was. I would have
So yeah,
loved to
there's
have
the
stayed up
closeout crew
199
hatch
days,
has
but
been
168
officially
is
closed.
not
They've
bad
done.
either.
They're doing leak checks.
And before they returned to Earth, NASA astronauts Shane Kimbrough and Megan MacArthur, well, they were good tenants because they made sure that station was ready for Crew 3. I had a chance to speak with them in space before they came home. Hey, Shane and Megan, great to be with you today. This is fantastic. You guys are currently over the Pacific Ocean, cruising at 17,500 miles per hour towards our general direction, though it doesn't look like you're going that fast. And Megan, your hair is looking luxurious, by the way.
Thank you very much.
So tell me, you're getting ready for Crew 3 to arrive.
Yeah, so we've been getting their sleep stations ready to go, their crew quarters. So we've been cleaning those and getting them all ready. So they're going to be set. We also have gotten their suitcases up here. And we got one. Here's Raja's.
Where is...
And we got Kayla's there. And so we got Tom's and Matthias's as well. So all your clothes are ready to go for the next 6 months. So that's going to be set. All your food's ready to go as well.
And given the size of those suitcases, it doesn't look like the wardrobe is having a lot of variety. But you don't need a lot of that up in space. Tell me, for the first space flight, you know, for the folks that are coming up, 3 of the 4 astronauts, this is going to be their first space flights. For those 3 astronauts,
they were
we know they've
talking to
trained
Shannon
extensively.
Walker.
But what is something as a first-timer they will experience that you just can't train for?
Well, Daryl, that's a great question. And really, it's the physical environment that we live in that is really hard, obviously, to train for when you live in 1G on Earth. And so it's how you move around, how you move efficiently, how you can, go floating and flying through the space station without crashing into things and without knocking things off the walls. But these are all smart folks. They're going to figure it out really quick, and they're going to be doing great work up here before we know it.
Hey, Shane, one of the veteran astronauts, Thomas Marshburn, you know him pretty well.
That is a ESA
you got
astronaut.
Any stories about him? He's a veteran astronaut, just like you. Flew on shuttle, been up to the station before, and both of you are the astronaut class of 2004. So, you got any good stories about Tom?
Nah, none really. Tom's such a great guy. He was at NASA before we were selected as astronauts as a flight surgeon. So some folks may not know that. So he was kind of the go-to person in our class of, hey, what's it really like? I don't understand this, how NASA runs. And since he'd been here a little while, he was definitely our go-to person for that. Tom and I are also both from Atlanta, so we have that in common. And we've enjoyed working together and training together over these many years.
Couple of Southern
we
guys.
are
That's
about
great.
an hour
I
away
ask
from
you, though,
Corexis, our mid-track.
currently Crew 3, as they're getting ready to go up, I was watching you guys play a game. In fact, the entire world was watching you guys play a game with your thumbs. And I'm just curious, what was that game? And why were you playing it?
So that is actually a French game that our ESA crewmate Thomas Pesquet taught us. It's called the Game of Thumbs, so very original title. And we were basically playing it to pass the time. So we were, you have a lot of time when you're sitting in the vehicle. And we had, during that launch week, you have some practice runs as well. And so you have a lot of time sitting in the vehicle while the vehicle is getting fueled. And of course, we talked to each other about what, to be prepared for any emergency scenario that might happen. We talked through all of our nominal tasks and monitoring that we're going to do, and then we still have some extra time. And so Thomas had this game at the ready for us to play, and that kept us entertained for the time between the activities that we had to do.
Shane Kimbrough and Megan MacArthur aboard the International Space Station. Thank you so much. And by the way, fun fact, during this interview, you just traveled 3,000 miles. Incredible.
Thanks, Daryl. Really great talking to you, and get Crew 3 up here safely. We're looking forward to having them on board.
Will do. Take care. There's the floating flip. You can't talk to astronauts without having a flip.
Always got to do it.
Shane and Megan, they were great, and it was great to find out about that game. They enjoyed games. This crew apparently is enjoying some solitude.
I think so. But they are doing what Megan just said. They are going through the nominal procedures. They're talking through the emergency procedures to make sure that they are prepared when launch actually happens.
Shane and Megan back on the ground. Shannon, you were out there when they came down, and you were one of the first people they saw?
I was. It's hard to believe it was just Monday night when they splashed down, but it was pretty special for me to be out on the ship that gathered up the capsule, and I got to see the crew, and it was extra special because I was on station when they came on board, and then I got to be there when they splashed down.
How about that? That must have brought a smile to their faces even after, coming back from space.
Yes. They all told me that it was great to see my friendly face.
Great story, Shannon. Thank you so much. And now let's check back in on launch operations in Hawthorne. John I., what has the team at Spacex been working on?
Thanks, Daryl. We're coming up on just under 1 hour and 38 minutes before launch. Now, the crew of 4 are in the capsule, hatches closed, and we have heard a successful completion of the hatch leak check. So pretty much everything is finished with the capsule. The ground team will be securing the white room, the access arm, and they'll be off of the pad in just about a little more than 30 minutes. Now, the launch engineers for Falcon 9 are in their firing room 4 in the NASA Launch Control Center. That's just outside the Vehicle Assembly Building at Kennedy Space Center. You can see the view they're going to have through those large windows of Pad 39A. It's 5 kilometers just east of them. We get liftoff, it's going to light up the sky, and I think everybody's going to be looking out those windows. Now, the Falcon 9 team has loaded the helium and nitrogen gas into the storage bottles on the launch vehicle. We've done some RF checkouts a little bit earlier this evening, and we're doing a final review of vehicle tests that were performed earlier today. Now, the SpaceX chief engineer will be checking with the team at T-minus 80 minutes to verify that we are good to continue the countdown. Now, the next major activity is flowing a small amount of fuel into the first stage to prime the Merlin 1D engines for ignition. Now, the team's also monitoring fuel and liquid oxygen loading preparations. We're ensuring that the propellants that are in the ground storage tanks are correctly chilled before we load those into the Falcon 9, beginning at T-minus 35 minutes. Now, for the range and the weather, the range continues to be go. We are continuing to release balloons. We have been getting balloon data back from the upper altitudes. Everything looks good. And more importantly, the weather has gone green again. They said it would be just a short period. We were red for precipitation. That has cleared up, and weather says that we should be clear the rest of the way through the countdown. So with that, everything is a go. We'll turn it over to Courtney here at Hawthorne.
Thanks, John. The Draco spacecraft you see on your screen is capable of carrying up to 7 passengers to and from Earth's orbit and beyond. And what we have sitting right here in front of us is a Draco engine, which helps get Dragon from one place to the next. And we're really excited to share some details about this engine. But first, let's take a closer look at the overall Dragon vehicle.
Yeah, Courtney, just to get an idea for size, this is our Dragon vehicle, and from the bottom to the top of the vehicle, it's about 8 meters or about 27 feet tall and about 4 meters in diameter or 13 feet in diameter. The bottom portion of it is called the trunk, and this is the unpressurized portion of the vehicle, whereas the top portion here is the Dragon capsule, and this is the pressurized section. This black portion on the trunk here is actually a bunch of solar panels, and that helps power the vehicle while it's on the pad and while it's in flight, as well as while it's attached to the International Space Station. And we also have 16 Draco thrusters on the vehicle that help maneuver it around, and 8 Super Draco thrusters to help in case of emergency for a launch escape system.
It is the only spacecraft currently flying that is capable of returning significant amounts of cargo to Earth from the International Space Station, and it's the first private spacecraft to take humans to the space station. In order to make this journey, Dragon is equipped with 16 Draco thrusters, which are used to maneuver the spacecraft during the mission. And today, we actually have some flight-proven thrusters to show viewers. Each were flown on the first version of our Dragon vehicle, and we have one right here.
Yeah, Courtney, I think this is so cool that we have this in front of us. This specific Draco engine has actually flown twice, and that's been on CRS-9 in 2016 and CRS-15 back in 2018 on the first version of our Dragon vehicle. And reusability is so important to us, so it's really great to see a vehicle or a thruster right in front of us that has proven that it can refly in this design. Each thruster is capable of generating 90 pounds of force in the vacuum of space. And the earlier cargo version of Dragon fired its thrusters more than 450,000 times, and that's between missions and testing. An interesting fact about the Draco engines is that they can serve different functions based on their positions on the spacecraft. So if you can see on the vehicle, you know, depending on what orientation we need to maneuver the vehicle, there are thrusters that are oriented differently so that we can make those maneuvers.
Yeah, well, thank you for your demonstration. That was great. And I just want to be sure everyone knows not to be confused with the Super Draco thrusters. We're coming up on the Launch Escape System health checks. The Launch Escape System is the automated system in place that can fire the 8 Super Draco thrusters on Dragon to quickly separate the crew from the rocket, either on the pad or during the ride uphill. While we wait on those Launch Escape System health checks, let's check back in with our team at Kennedy Space Center. Daryl.
All right, thank you, Courtney, and a great show and tell there with I enjoyed that. I thought that was kind of neat. Yeah. We're currently T-minus 1 hour and 32 minutes and counting until liftoff and until Crew Dragon flies its next 4-person crew to the International Space Station. They'll, of course, have the astronauts inside the spacecraft. You're looking live down the crew access arm at the capsule on top of that Falcon 9 rocket there inside the spacecraft. Commander
also,
Roger
I
Chari,
love the iconic
pilot
NASA
Tom
overlay.
Marshburn, and mission specialist
Just the
Kayla
one up
Barron,
here, the thing up
Matthias
here. I
Maurer.
find it better than SpaceX's overlay, to be honest.
We've had some progress since we had John's update. Some of that progress we've seen so far. Shannon, why don't you outline some of that for us?
Well, so what we've done, you can see there that the closeout crew is still working on closing out the hatch. That does take a while, longer than one might expect. But again, I want to make sure that everything is done just so that hatch will hold its pressure. Before the hatch closure, we had the suit leak check, so we want those space suits to work properly should we need them in an emergency. And they've done some other systems checks to get ready for the all-important arming of the launch escape system.
Absolutely. We saw a shot there of the crew, or the closeout crew. They were tethered, as you can see there. Both the crew member on the left and the right. You can see those tethers because
I think I found one.
they're literally 255 feet up in the air.
They are, and there's a little space there that we do not want them to fall through. So that's why we keep them tethered.
And it looks like a step ladder there in case they need to get up a little higher.
Boost up. Right, exactly.
It's good to have the right tools on hand. Here in just a few seconds, around an hour and 30 minutes before liftoff in our launch timeline, we should have that launch escape system and communication checks conducted by the Falcon launch team. These checkouts, as Shannon mentioned, they're standard part of the launch countdown. Of course, it's critical to make sure everything is working in order before arming this launch escape system. We'll get this call out in just a few seconds.
Yeah, it looks like the closeout crew is finishing up. Hopefully all is good, checking out with that hatch there. And as soon as they probably back away and leave, we will hear the arming of the launch escape system. But I tell you, if there's still work to do, they will sit there and keep working until that hatch is adequately closed and we know that it will hold pressure.
What does it sound like as you're sitting there in the seat and they're working on it from the outside?
Yeah, you kind of hear some thumping and bumping going on, and you do have those two windows in front, so you can kind of see a little bit what's happening, but mostly you really don't know exactly what they're doing. You just know that they are working on it and getting that much closer to launch. Looks like we're going to need to check something out a little bit taller, higher up on the capsule there.
Oh, that step ladder came in handy.
Yeah, it sure did.
Whoopsie.
Challenge our expectations for what we can get done.
There we go.
Not sure what that was.
I am not sure what that was either, but it looked like it was a duct to flow air or something to the spacecraft. Clearly it did not need to be there for the launch, and so they spent the time needed to remove it.
It did look like some ducting.
Yes.
As they continue to work here. And as you mentioned, they will take the time necessary to make sure everything is secure.
Absolutely right, and everybody knows what the timeline milestones are, so they have a very good idea of when they need to finish up this activity. They're not going to rush through it by any stretch of the imagination. They're going to do it very methodically, very carefully, but we do have a timeline because, as was mentioned previously, it is an instantaneous launch window. We need to launch exactly on time.
That instantaneous window needed to rendezvous with the International Space Station on time.
Exactly.
But in this schedule, they're aware, as you said, of where they have some flexibility.
Right. So nothing is timelined so tightly that we don't have a little bit of padding to take care of problems. Now, I don't know if they've got a problem they're addressing or if they're just doing the normal work, because I was not a member of the closeout team, so I don't know all of what they are doing, but they do have a good sense of when that
does look like they're doing
finished.
normal work.
You were on the other side,
yeah, they're just
inside the capsule for Crew 1.
They're just separating
It does
Crew
appear
Dragon,
that the closeout
like
crew
that little
member is now documenting
cover slip
with the camera
thing.
phone,
right, again.
All of the area around that capsule.
Yep.
You can see some of the closeout crew making their way out of the white room and down the crew access arm.
Oh, that's a very good sign. So looks like they are definitely finishing up their work, and soon, hopefully, we will hear that the launch escape system is armed.
We're expecting that in just a few seconds.
Oh,
really
launch
any
escape
moment
system
now.
gets armed before.
But he's got the light and the camera, still working that.
Yep, they're taking one last look to make sure that there is nothing trapped in that hatchway and that would inhibit the seals from working properly. It's interesting watching them work, don't you think?
Yes, it is. It's very thorough.
Very
I appreciate
thorough.
that.
Yes, very thorough. They'll have a set of procedures. I don't know if we've seen it, but the closeout crew will have tablets with them, and they will have on the tablets every step that they need to do.
And they'll also have those pictures that accompany each and every step that they took. So if they need to, for any reason,
to go back
and look at it.
Yep, exactly so.
This is, we should note, a brand new Dragon capsule.
It is. They get to ride in a new Dragon. That's exciting.
Yeah, that is known. They do ride in a brand new Dragon.
The booster.
The booster is a refurbished one, so it is not making its first flight.
Flew on CRS-22.
Flew on
landed
CRS-22.
back. Was refurbished and
ready for use.
Ready for use, yeah.
So yeah, there's resilience,
And there you see a
endeavor,
nice shot on the pad
and
against the dark sky.
whatever this one is.
Hopefully
I can't
no more
remember
rain
what
clouds
this
in the
one
way.
is.
Sounds like we have a go with the weather, so that is very good news.
That's what we heard. Our launch weather officer here at the Kennedy Space Center, Brian Sizik, telling us that that has cleared out. John I reporting earlier that the range went from red when we had the little shower.
Yes, we got rained on.
Yeah, even a few drops on the lens you can see have, still hanging around. Evidence that we had a little rain out there on the pad. You can see the ground is wet as well, the reflection of the lights off the ground and the droplets on the lens. But that has since moved out of the area, which is great news. And then the range went green for weather.
And there's that first view of the top.
You can see from that view there, it looks like there's a lot of fog at the launch pad.
There actually
It does look that way.
I think
But
there
fog-
is
fog
probably
will not
from the.
stop us from
It
watching.
looks like
No,
there
it
is
won't.
from the.
Neither will the thin
live
clouds
view.
that
It
we've
looks
had
like
in the
there's quite a bit
area.
of fog.
It was explained to me by our launch weather officer that we've got some onshore flow that basically a high pressure system north of us that's spinning and throwing that moisture from off the ocean, off the Atlantic Ocean, over the Kennedy Space Center. But there's a layer of dry air in the mid-levels of the atmosphere that has soaked up a fair amount of that moisture, and it is essentially drying it out, serving as kind of a a blow dryer effect.
a blow dryer for
That's
Florida.
Well, the four Crew 2 astronauts not only broke a record for the longest stay for a commercial spaceflight at 199 days, they also got a lot of science done. Let's take a look at that now.
Everything we're doing up in space is to benefit
Launch
humanity
escape
or
system
benefit
arming.
human exploration.
Yeah, it's at 38 minutes.
We are natural explorers. We want to explore our environment. Whatever small area we start in, we always want to push the boundaries.
The great thing about space travel is the perspective that it gives you.
I feel a sense of pride
There we go.
getting up there, but at the same time, I want a lot of people to experience the same experience.
And that video is from Crew 1, I believe.
Dragon,
Yep.
SpaceX, go for
So-
launch.
3, 2, 1. Ignition.
And yeah, that's the Crew 1 video. Nope, that was from the Crew 2. That is Crew 2.
Falcon 9 is supersonic.
I believe I recognize that from Crew 2. And yeah.
Dragon separation confirmed.
The way I recognize it from Crew 2
SpaceX trajectory nominal.
specifically is because of the
You are part of this big team.
the
You are
video
part of an effort
from
that
launch,
is
the side
larger
view.
than yourself.
It looks kind of like
It
is a cool
a
perspective
fireball
to see
coming
from
off
up there.
of the side
Wow, this
of the
whole
rocket.
planet looks pretty special.
Dragon separation visually confirmed.
Just flying a few hundred kilometers away from the Earth changes everything.
Endeavor, on behalf of SpaceX, welcome home to planet Earth.
Welcome home to planet Earth, and welcome to the
Yes.
Kennedy Space Center. If you're just joining us for the launch coverage of Crew 3,
Okay.
as we await liftoff just an
Okay,
hour
so
and 21 minutes
I will be back.
from now. Crew 2 that you just saw splash down in the Gulf off the coast of Pensacola on Monday
Shortly?
after a very eventful yet
I'm
productive
going to
stay,
watch a hockey
6
game
months
for
in
just a
space.
little
Shannon,
bit.
it looked to me from the infrared video that they had pretty calm waters, and you were out there.
Yeah.
You experienced a
I'm gonna watch
similar.
Yes, you
hockey
definitely
game,
want calm
Toronto Maple
waters
Leafs
when you
versus
splash down in
Pennsylvania.
the
Go
water
Leafs,
because
go.
you really don't want
Or
that
versus
castle rocking too
Philadelphia.
much. That's
Toronto
gonna make the
versus
crew feel
Philadelphia.
badly
Go
if
Leafs,
they,
go, and
have too
I
much
will
motion.
be
You don't want to
back
be bouncing
soon.
around in the seas,
No.
whether it's in a boat or a space capsule.
No, it's
Same
not
effect.
good. Not good.
It's not good. Well, NASA leaders are watching this launch from right here at the Kennedy Space Center. They're watching the astronauts inside Crew Dragon Endurance with great anticipation. NASA's Marie Lewis is with a special guest right now from ESA at OSB-2. Marie.
That's right, Daryl. I'm here with ESA astronaut and geophysicist Alex Gerst, two-time flyer to space on the Russian Soyuz. Alex, thanks for being here.
Hey Marie, good to be here. And it's finally good to see the stars come out.
Yeah.
Poking through between the clouds.
Yeah, we had some sprinkles, but yeah, you pointed out we actually see stars, so that's a good sign here around the launch pad. We were talking earlier. Tell me about the difference between, you've flown to space twice. This is Matthias's first time, and it's totally different flying in a simulator versus the real thing, actually sitting on top of the rocket where Matthias is right now. So explain the difference and what Matthias must be feeling right now.
Yeah, actually, the real capsule, it looks the same as the simulator and it works the same. But if you spend a lot of time in the simulator and then sit on the real rocket on the real day, it's amazing. The difference is, it's feeling like you're sitting on this alive being there. It shrieks. There's steam here and it's powered up. It's humming and. When you sit on top, it's sometimes a bit like swaying in the wind, just ever so slightly, but you notice it. So there is a difference. You're going somewhere.
And then once you arrive at the International Space Station, they're going to be docking tomorrow, and you train for living in microgravity, but there's only so much training you can do to prepare yourself for what life is actually like on the International Space Station. So can you talk about what that's going to be like?
Yeah, that's absolutely right. There's no way to really simulate microgravity down here on Earth. That's why we have to fly up there to do all that science experiments. But it also includes training, like how to live on the space station, right? How you get your bearings and how to translate. That's what we call like floating from one end of the space station to the other. How to sleep in space, how to go to the toilet, all things that you need to figure out on the first day, right?
Yeah.
And you can't train them, so that's really a challenge. And you just, people say they drink from a fire hose up there, right? The first 3 days.
Yeah, and you mentioned science. I want to talk a little bit about the science that Matthias is going to be working on. 35 different experiments specific to ESA. Can you touch on some of the experiments Matthias will be doing?
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff that they do up there. That's actually a long continuation of experiments that have been done in the past. Actually, some that I already did. He's continuing. He's a material scientist, so he's really good at those things. Looking at new materials down here. I mean, they do the experiments up there, but the use of the experiments is down here for like turbo engines that use less fuel or lighter materials. That's important, but also like cell experiments on cell aging. Also experiments that help people who have muscular diseases down here. A really nice set of experiments. They actually have a bioprinter for skin cells up there. Really interesting that they can put over wounds if they have them.
That's fantastic. Alex, thank you so much. We're out of time, so I'm going to send it back over to Jesse and Hawthorne, but thank you so much for being here, Alex.
You're very welcome.
Jesse, over to you.
Thanks, Marie. It's T-minus 1 hour and about 17 minutes from launch, and it always gets more and more exciting as we continue to get closer to that T0. Now, crew has already ingressed the vehicle. They have been helped out by our closeout team. to get into their seats and get buckled in, attach their umbilicals to the spacecraft, which provide breathing air and comms to Dragon. And then they've completed comm checks and suit leak checks, and those comm checks were completed with the core here.
Endurance copies.
All right, and confirmation that the closeout team is now departing. So after those suit leak checks, the closeout team was able to close and seal the hatch, which also gets its own leak check. As we just heard, the closeout team has departed, and those final weather checks are coming up, which will be necessary before that final go, no-go is given for launch.
Yeah, before we get that final go, no-go, the various teams at both NASA and SpaceX will do an internal go poll, making sure conditions are right with Falcon 9, the Dragon, the crew, the range, and the space station before the final go is given. Now let's check back in on Houston for a status on the team supporting the space station on their readiness for launch. Sandra, how's it going?
Thanks, Jesse. The team here in Mission Control Houston remains go for launch. All systems on board the station that are required to be healthy for this mission are continuing to look good. Before the station team is go for launch, they must verify that key systems on board the station are functioning as expected. This includes life support systems like oxygen generation, carbon dioxide removal, and the water recycling system that allows us to reuse about 90% of the water we send to station. We're also ensuring that the computers that allow us to command station's major subsystems, essentially the station's nervous system, are functioning normally. We also work with our Russian counterparts to ensure both methods of controlling the station's attitude are fully functional. This includes the large U.S. gyroscopes and the thrusters found on the Russian segment. Both systems play a critical role during Dragon's docking. Mission Control Houston will closely monitor the crew's flight and will continue to check off milestones for most of the journey. So I'll send it back to Hawthorne. The International Space Station team is ready for launch. Courtney?
Thanks, Sandra. We're so happy to hear that the space station team is ready for launch. As we mentioned, the Crew 3 astronauts will spend about 6 months aboard the International Space Station. They're starting their journey after the departure of the Crew 2 astronauts from the space station. Crew 2 splashed down off the Florida coast Monday night, where they were picked up at sea by SpaceX's Go Navigator recovery vessel. Next, SpaceX will launch Commercial Resupply Mission 24, or CRS-24, to space station to deliver cargo and supplies to Crew 3 and the astronauts and cosmonauts aboard. It will automatically dock to the International Docking Adapter 3 on the space-facing port of the station's Harmony module.
Before Crew 3 returns home, they will hand the baton to the next crew to arrive at the orbiting lab on Crew Dragon, the Crew 4 crew. That mission is targeted to launch in April of next year, and it will carry Crew Dragon Commander and NASA astronaut Chari Lindgren, pilot Bob Hines of NASA, and mission specialist Samantha Cristoforetti of the European Space Agency, or ESA, and a fourth crew member who has yet to be named. The Crew 4 astronauts will also complete a 6-month mission as expedition crew members aboard the space station. Now, they will be joined there by 3 additional crewmates who will launch on a Russian Soyuz spacecraft, and this will mean that 7 people will be on the space station at one time, allowing NASA to increase the amount of science conducted in space.
That's right, and this will be Chari Lindgren's second trip into space following a 141-day stay at the space station in 2015 for expeditions 44 and 45. Before being selected as an astronaut in 2009, he was a flight surgeon supporting space shuttle and space station missions. In December 2020, NASA named him as one of the Artemis team of astronauts helping to pave the way for NASA's upcoming lunar missions.
Bob Hines, a lieutenant colonel in the U.S. Air Force, was selected as an astronaut in 2017 and will be making his first trip into space on Crew 4. Before becoming an astronaut, he supported multiple military deployments in the Middle East, Africa, and Europe, served as a flight test pilot for the Federal Aviation Administration, and flew as a research pilot at NASA's Johnson Space Center in Houston.
And ESA astronaut Samantha Cristoforetti will be making her second trip to space as a mission specialist on Crew 4. She was selected as an ESA astronaut in 2009 and flew to the International Space Station in 2014 aboard a Russian Soyuz for a long-duration mission as part of Expedition 42 and 43. Cristoforetti is planned to take over as station commander for Expedition 68 and will be the first woman from ESA to do so. Now let's head over to Daryl at Kennedy Space Center. Daryl, how's it going over there?
All right, it's very good, Courtney. We are having clear skies at the moment. We can see some stars here at Kennedy, and that's great news. And if you're just joining us, welcome to coverage for the mission known as Crew 3, NASA and SpaceX's fourth flight of astronauts to the International Space Station. We are at T-minus 1 hour and 11 minutes until launch. Liftoff time still holding for 9:03 p.m. Eastern time, and we're tracking no issues with Falcon 9 or with Dragon. The range is green, and the weather, it's cooperating. Moving on out, we had a light shower earlier, but it is gone. The range is now green, and so over the last 3 hours, our crew of Chari, Tom Marshburn, Kayla Barron, and Matthias Maurer, they donned their Spacex suits in the historic crew quarters suit-up room. They walked out of the crew quarters building as
apparently it wasn't to watch a hockey game. It was just to get a picture of me, my dad, and my dog in a Toronto Maple Leaf jersey. So yeah, Crew 3, 1 hour, 10 minutes until launch. Anyways, Crew Dragon, 1 hour, 10 minutes, and 50 seconds-ish to launch. And roughly around that time. I don't know, I was looking at my live stream. 1 hour, 9 minutes, and 11 oh god, no. Nope, not even going to acknowledge that, but kinda did. Falcon 9 is currently go for launch at this time. And why is this on hatch close? Or sea rotation, it should be on hatch close, and that's weird. Whatever. Not even going to acknowledge that either. Even though I just did once again. I don't believe it goes... Oh no, it does go to the end, okay. So, previous event was hatch close, and current event is, or the next event will be crew access arm retract at T-minus 42 seconds. I'm gonna enter studio mode and make the transition a Luma wipe. What does that Luma wipe look like? It just does nothing.
To pick up the pace here in the last hour. Now our next major activity happens at T-minus 1 hour when the SpaceX closeout team actually gets out of the blast danger area. They've already left.
What if I do that? There we go, that's better. And I need to make that a little bit longer, so 500 milliseconds should be good. Nope. Wait. Okay,
Checking the engine pneumatics pressurization system right now. In T-minus 45 minutes, the team will report their readiness for propellant load with a final electronic go-no-go poll. Now, before we
how do I change my transition?
we have a couple of major tasks to perform with respect to Dragon. First,
Scene transition.
we're going to retract that crew access arm that you can see alongside Dragon from the fixed service structure. We're going to move that away from launch position. That'll happen approximately between T-minus 44 and T-minus 42 minutes. With the arm out of the way, crew will arm the launch escape system. Once these two events are complete, Dragon is ready for Falcon to begin propellant loading. On the weather front, we're also verifying that we meet all the constraints, and as we mentioned a little bit earlier, everything both at ground level and at upper altitude looks good and ready to support an on-time launch in just over 64 minutes. So with everything looking good right now, the range is also ready to support from historic Launchpad 39A. The worldwide network of ground stations and the tracking and data relay satellites are ready to support Dragon as it heads into orbit. Everything is looking good for that instantaneous launch window at 9:03:31 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, which is 2 hours, 3 minutes, 31 seconds Universal Time.
Okay, I'm gonna put some text.
Timing for Dragon rendezvous with the International Space Station is very precise, down to the second, so we're going to get one chance at it today. The good news coming up just over 63 minutes and counting. We are go for launch, Jesse.
This feed brought to you by KSC Newsroom The live feed has been brought to you by KSC Newsroom, the other feed. There we go. I'm also putting up another live feed of the day. Although I'm assuming you guys already know what day it is, but just in case you don't. Just in case you don't. This is live streamed on the 10th of November 2021, Wednesday. Today is Wednesday. I know, a shocker. Wow. And we are T-minus 1 hour until launch. I'm just gonna reset the feed once again, the live countdown, hour countdown. Hold on, this uses 28%, I think, of my, 3, 2, 1, click. We are officially under 1 hour until liftoff. Again, next event is the Crew Access Arm Retract. Previous event was the hatch close of Crew Dragon. Yeah, that is his first time in space. Falcon 9 currently prepared for launch. Anyways. Falcon 9 Crew Dragon prepared for launch at for a 9:03 time launch. I'm just gonna spam my friend. I'm gonna spam our guest to get him back on. Well, he can't watch the launch. He has to go to sleepy. Just checking. Yep, my mic is still working. Kind of feel like Crew 2. Stream with Jiff you do not know. I was extremely tired on Crew 2, and that was about 6 months ago. And I'm still having a little bit of sleep deprivation from that. And again, Crew Dragon, 54 minutes until launch, technically 54 minutes and 2 seconds right now at this time. But this is a little bit delayed. NASA feed's delayed, and my feed is even more delayed than a NASA feed. If you are watching this launch, thank you for tuning into my stream. If you are watching my stream, if you aren't, but you are watching the launch, still another thank you. Anyways. And we are about 10 minutes away from Crew Access Arm Retract, which is at 42 minutes until launch, and the launch escape system is armed at T-minus 38 minutes. Propellant load starts at 35 minutes until launch. So we've got a lot of events coming up. After that, the Stage 2 LOX begins to load. Falcon 9, and then at 7 minutes, Falcon 9 begins engine chill prior to launch. At 5 minutes, Dragon transitions to internal power. At 1 minute, the flight computers begin final pre-launch checks. Propellant tanks pressurized to flight pressure, and startup of Falcon 9 does happen. Dragon is on fully internal power at this time. At T-minus 45 seconds, Spacex launch director verifies go for launch. At T-minus 3 seconds, the Falcon 9 engine controller commands main engine ignition sequence start. And at T-minus 0, liftoff occurs. Falcon 9 is in a current nominal state. Again, the upcoming event is Crew Access Arm Retract, and the previous event is hatch close of the Falcon 9. Thank you for tuning into the stream. If you are in the stream, this is an experimental stream. I don't do many rocket launch streams at this time, but I'm hoping to do some more eventually. And I feel like that was a lot to cover in, like, I don't know, 1 minute? 2 hours ago we started streaming at this point, I believe. It was 2 hours ago. Yeah, 2 hours ago. 2 hours and 8 minutes ago I started streaming. And about 21 minutes into the stream, I said hello to you guys. So a little bit late on my part, but okay, whatever. Also, hello. That's just me sitting down here watching the stream. What I'm gonna do is I am going to pull up Discord right now and look. Or no, I'm gonna pull up. Anyways, I'm gonna pull up something where they ask questions. Twitter, and search for the hashtag #AskNASA. Okay, so I have some Ask NASA questions pulled up from Twitter. We have the first question. Hold on, let me just edit the feed thing. Let me edit my thing to be able to so that you guys can see the questions on screen. Okay, so I'm going to be answering some questions from Twitter. I'm just gonna add another color source. I believe it's nope. No, I'm just gonna. Use a color source 3. This is actually the closest we've got to launching Crew 3 so far. Okay, so the first question is, do all astronauts get some medical training in case hold on, let me just go to settings hotkey. Okay. Okay, so do all astronauts get some medical training in order to handle if any astronaut has emergencies? Kind of, yes. They do kind of get medical training, just a little bit, not much. They can't really do CPR in space unless they, like, push you down to the ground. Oh, and crew access arm retract at this time has happened. So yeah, it just retracts really slowly and then comes back up to the capsule quickly. But yeah, so astronauts do actually get trained just a little bit. I believe they do, at least. I have no idea to what degree they get trained, but yes, they are required to get a little bit of medical training just in case. That's a just in case. Usually, or actually, I don't think they've ever needed to use any of that for for actual medical reasons, but they do get training. And there we go. Now we do not have that side 39A view, the KSC newsroom. But yeah, what time do astronauts go by while aboard the International Space Station? I'm assuming you meant space station and just mistyped that. I believe they go by Eastern Standard Time while aboard the ISS. I believe that. I'm pretty sure they do. Some other astronauts might go by different times. Maybe? That is a maybe. I don't 100% go. At what speed will Dragon be flying once you hit zero gravity, and will you feel any motion? So, once you hit zero gravity, the engines will be completely shut off, and you'll be traveling 17,500 kilometers per hour, I believe. 27,000 kilometers an hour, 17,000 miles per hour. And you will not feel any motion, because you are going the exact same speed as Crew Dragon, and you're strapped in for any speed ups or slowdowns. Yeah, so that's the answer to that question. I'm gonna update it now to a brand new question. Push it back, show it, and are you having any part in connecting the telescope replacing the Hubble? I believe you mean the James Webb telescope, and they do. They actually, I believe, have built the James Webb, and ESA is launching it with the Ariane 5. I believe later this year or early next year. Luma wipe. And what type of research will Crew 3 be conducting? That I actually do not know at this time. I do not know what type of research Crew 3 will be conducting. I'm assuming all types of research, but I do not know. And again, ask your questions at on hashtag hold on. Ask your questions at hashtag AskNASA to be answered by me or by NASA. Or by no one. Because you're not guaranteed to be
Oh, that is such an interesting feeling when that happens. Of course, I felt it for the first time on the Soyuz spacecraft when we got into space and the engines cut off. To me, it felt like we were sort of tipping forward. I felt like I was floating forward in my harness that was holding me down.
Huh.
Don't know why. I don't think we were, but that's what it felt like.
Yeah. And not too long
Okay,
after
I'm going
you
to
get
go
up into space, don't you get ready to sleep in anticipation for getting to the space station?
It really depends on.
Gonna go to the Everyday Astronaut live view.
All right, guys, it is time. It is time. It is time. It is time. A Colt Brawler. Isn't this the guy from the commercial?
Oh, I did it again. I did it again.
They have their ads down to a science, bro. I did it again.
We got this. Rejoice! You made it just in time for the miracle.
You okay?
It gets more vibrations and louder as it gets closer to the crew.
Yeah, you can hear that inside the capsule, right?
Definitely hear it.
That's so cool. That's Shannon's.
You know something big's
Shannon
getting ready
Walker
to happen.
knows that.
Absolutely.
You know,
well, we are T-minus 34 minutes and counting away from the launch.
how cool is that they actually have an astronaut in studio that has been inside of this vehicle, knows what it's like when it's fueling up in order to launch. That is so cool. Yeah. All right, let's see if we can get. Let's answer a few more questions from Aaron. Hey, mate, watching from Australia. Hopefully see a launch in person one day. Do you know if SpaceX have any plans to launch the Falcon Heavy again? Oh, yes. 2022 is going to be the year of Falcon Heavy. I believe there were talks of it maybe flying up to 5 times, but I think the current total right now for 2022 is 4. There are 4 planned Falcon Heavy launches. If you don't know what Falcon Heavy is, what you're looking at there is Falcon 9. Again, behind me in this case is a representation of Falcon 9 on the left, Falcon 9 on the right, and in the middle
on the live
is a
feed.
Falcon Heavy. You may notice it basically looks
we
like
have
a Falcon
had
9 with 2 first-stage boosters.
A launch escape
strapped
system armed.
right there onto
we have
it.
had
Well, that's a pretty good
RP1
observation
and
because that's about exactly
LOX
what it
load
is. The Falcon Heavy
on
is
stage
the
one.
heaviest operational,
We have not had
heaviest lift capable
the next one yet.
operational vehicle at the moment. It is super cool. One of my favorite features about it is that, of course, all 3 boosters land for most missions. The next mission, only the side boosters will be landing. They will be expending the center core, and the side boosters will be landing downrange. So don't forget as far as the flight profile goes, the only reason you really ever go up in spaceflight is to get out of the atmosphere. The rest of your time, you're trying to just accelerate horizontally, trying to get the vehicle up to orbital velocities. So like 28,000 kilometers an hour, 17,500 miles an hour. You're trying to go very quickly. So obviously you want to pitch over sideways. So the more of the sideways momentum you can get out of those side boosters and out of the center core, the heavier your payload you can put into orbit, or the further you can send a payload into orbit. And of course, if you're trying to return those boosters back to where they came from, you actually have to turn them around, cancel out all that velocity, and land back at Kennedy Space Center. So the better thing to do, as far as energy efficiency goes, is to let those boosters burn longer, or even even if you burnt the same amount of time but didn't return them back to land and let them just follow their ballistic trajectory, you'll actually get a lot more energy out of it because they won't. You'll be able to go they won't be spending as much energy just canceling out their velocity to come back to land. You can just simply have them land downrange. Super cool. It's going to be really fun to see Falcon Heavy launch like that. 2 of them landing on drone ships. That's going to be really, really cool. So, all right. Oh, awesome. Celebrating 10 months of membership. Thank you so much, Baja Truck Guy. That is awesome. Thank you very much. This is a great question from Fenrir saying, when do I think new Starship will launch? I've been saying it for 6 months now. I think it'll be 2022. I still hold that. I've been saying that all year, that I just don't think we're going to see Starship Super Heavy fly this year. And
I
it's
also do
no
not
hate or no
think
shade.
that.
I just think that's just the amount of work needed to be done in order to get that vehicle ready for a test flight. So
yeah, I would
we
believe
still
him,
have, quite a
honestly.
big
I believe him on that.
test campaign in front of them. They have to not only test out S20, the Starship upper stage S20, that needs to be doing, likely we'll see like a pre-burner test of all 6 engines now, the 3 Raptor vacuum engines and the 3 center Raptors. And then we should see a full 6 Raptor static fire on S20. That will be the most powerful. That'll be almost the most powerful thing that SpaceX has ever lit outside of Falcon Heavy. It'd be more powerful. That little bit right there, just the upper stage, would be more powerful than an entire Falcon 9. That's pretty exciting. But then we also have to start seeing fuel up and static fires of the booster. So there's a lot to see. There is a lot to see before we actually see one of these things fly. TJ Cooney, thank you so much.
I'm
TJ,
gonna be honest with you, I'm kind of getting
Good to see you, my
excited right
friend.
now.
That means a lot. Let's see. This is from Tim. A lot of U.S. carriers are not shipping outside the USA now because of massive restrictions on available transportation for cargo. Yes, this is why we're trying to get ahead for as far as our shipping, trying to make sure that we can actually, get stuff to you guys by the holidays.
And as you can see, Falcon 9 is now venting.
Constraints right now. So, yeah. All right. Oh, this is awesome. When Dovefly is saying, when young people are blessed to have everyday astronaut Elon Musk, Richard Branson, Jeff Bezos, complimenting NASA. As a child, we only had NASA. Well, that's awesome. Thank you so much, When Dovefly, to put me anywhere in that list with those people. I'd like to say there's a lot of other people much more deserving of doing some big things to compliment NASA. There's a lot of really good communicators out there these days, and it's just so fun to be part of that community. Let's see here. This is, Joaquim says, hi, Tim. OLF podcast left a hole in my heart. I feel like I'm not up to date with anything anymore. I know there are other alternatives, but I miss it so bad. Well, good news for you. We may or may not be doing a little reunion show in the near future.
That's so nice.
Just a little teaser. Yeah, but don't forget, of course, guys, we've got lots of awesome science communicators out there. Marcus House, Felix with What About It, NASA Spaceflight.
Coming up,
tomorrow,
Falcon 9.
TMRO.
Hold on, I am going to.
You've got,
Okay, coming up, Falcon 9 will be performing the second stage LOX load begin on pad 39A.
Good communicators out there.
Engine chill at T-minus 7 minutes.
I don't love doing the news, guys.
At T-minus 5 minutes, the Dragon will transition to internal power. At T-minus 1 minute, the flight commander will, command flight computer.
That part was fun.
The flight commander, the computers will begin final pre-launch checks, pressurized propellant tanks to flight pressure, and Falcon 9 will be starting up at that time.
I don't see too many people doing.
By startup, I mean Dragon is fully on internal power, and Falcon 9 is not having any external power taken from the pad. At T-minus 3 seconds, engine controller command, at T-minus 45 seconds, SpaceX launch director verifies go for launch. At T-minus 3 seconds, the engine controller commands Merlin engine, Falcon 9 ignition sequence start.
I don't think it's necessarily so much about.
At T-minus 0, we have liftoff of Falcon 9.
Probably altitude and velocity.
At T plus 1 minute and 2 seconds, we have maximum aerodynamic pressure, or max Q, of Falcon 9. At T plus 2 minutes and 36 seconds, we have main engine cutoff, and at the same time we have stage separation. At T plus 2 minutes and 47 seconds, we have second engine start of Falcon 9. At T plus 7 minutes and 27 seconds, first stage entry burn will occur on Falcon 9.
Holy moly, all of a sudden your center of pressure is going to be down here, so you have to be going pretty slow.
At T plus 8 minutes and 47 seconds, second engine cutoff will occur, or SECO 1. at T plus 9 minutes and 3 seconds.
Yeah.
First stage will commence its landing burn.
Okay,
And at T plus 9 minutes and 30 seconds, Falcon 9 will land the first stage. At T plus 11 minutes and 58 seconds, the Dragon will separate from Falcon 9's second stage and begin the opening of the nose cone.
Engines of the Super Dracos. They're completely pressure fed. So when they open those valves, you know, the only thing that water would be getting into is just the nozzle and the chamber. And there's going to be
And
some
then
valves
T plus
behind the
1
injector.
day,
So I'm guessing they
Falcon
can clean
9
them out. They might have to do some
starts
light
final
refurbishment
phase
of them,
approach
but
of
I
the
don't think
ISS.
they'd
This
have
is
to replace
this is
these.
kind of
Hopefully, but I don't know
not
that for
really.
sure, actually.
I'm using Crew 2 as a vantage point here, but
I'm still listening here.
this should be relatively correct.
Well, thank you guys
T
so much
plus
just for
1 day,
even the
Falcon
support.
9
It has been a long time
starts
since I've,
the final
been
final
on
phase
air,
of
so
approach
it
to
means
the
a lot to you guys
ISS.
who are
T
still
plus
excited
1
to
day,
come hang
3
out with
hours
me
and 33 seconds,
chit
or
chat.
33
So,
minutes. Soft capture to the
yeah,
International
by the way,
Space
I should-
Station.
I- yeah, I probably should.
And at the same time, Dragon makes contact and docking with the International Space
of a certain thing
Station.
that we're going to be having in the store
And just
pretty
2
soon. We're
hours
actually working
later,
on
the Falcon 9,
set
or
that
the
will be
Crew
fully
Dragon,
painted, made out of metal.
hatch opens,
and it's
and
going to
Dragon
be
is now
incredible.
on the
It's,
International Space
you know,
Station
totally
at that
set up
time.
stages and everything.
T minus.
I'm really, really excited about this. This is going to be one of my favorite things. in the
Wow,
store
this
for
is
sure.
really behind.
We're targeting to try to get those maybe
Mine is really behind.
shipping in December. So it's going to be awesome. Again, made out of metal. I'm really excited about that. We've been working on that for a long time. And the cool thing for me, this is just going to be the beginning. The Falcon 9 that we're doing is just the beginning. We want to have a whole series of tons of different, like Soyuz, Space Shuttle, Saturn V, N1. Lots of fun rockets. And all at the same
That
scale.
should be close
That's
enough.
going to be the
At least
coolest
it's
thing
not a
ever,
minute
because my rockets
off.
back here are not to scale with each other, and it bugs
Again, Falcon
the
9 is
crap out of
launching
me.
in
So-
T minus 24 minutes and 10
Honestly,
seconds.
just don't cry this time. I won't cry this time. The last time I cried, it was a mixture of probably just stress from Inspiration 4, but also knowing, knowing some of the crew on board personally was just like, oof, that just hit me different. I don't know. I've never experienced that before. Let's see.
Yeah,
here.
knowing
Is
the crew on
Dragon
board
XL
can actually
still a
be
thing from Sebastian.
insane.
Seems kind of pointless with Lunar Starship. We have not heard anything about Dragon XL for a while now. You're absolutely right. I do believe it's still a thing. But so what he's talking about there is basically SpaceX was awarded a contract with NASA for the upcoming Gateway, which is a lunar gateway mission where there's going to be a space station in near rectilinear halo orbit around the moon. If you don't know what that is, don't worry, you're not alone. It's a very weird type of orbit that is not normal. So basically, the Apollo missions went around the moon basically at the belt. So they spent half the amount of time having communication with the Earth, on the near side of the moon, and half the time on the far side of the moon.
So yeah, Falcon 9's venting right now.
This is a space station that's basically
really
going into the
venting.
poles, but it stays constantly.
Shortly, we
it's a
should
really
have
weird
LOX
thing. It
load on
stays
stage
constantly
2.
where the Earth can see it at all
And
times.
10
and
minutes
it's
later, we
really
should have
elliptical
engine
orbit, and
chill.
It's called a near rectilinear halo
Falcon
orbit.
9, I
We talk about that
believe
quite a bit
that's
in basically it's like SLS versus Starship Part 2, or it was SLS versus
I've
like
got
Saturn
everything up
V,
to date at the
Apollo
moment, I
versus
believe.
Artemis. We talk a lot about the missions, how they're different.
Completely
so
up to date,
curious about
fully
the
and
Gateway.
completely up
We do
to
talk
date.
about that Halo orbit quite a bit. But we haven't heard anything about Dragon XL since, I guess we saw a rendering a few months ago or something, but we haven't heard anything. Gateway still, to me, even though there's parts being built, feels very in limbo. But we'll see. We will see. Let's see, this is a question from Jason. What are the logistics of long-term storage of rocket engines? For example, the NK-33 that Aerojet purchased. Great question, Jason. So, yeah, those engines are 40 years old. The NK-33s that were supposed to be on the upgraded N1 rocket were, built and developed in the 1960s.
So I'm going to answer some more questions here.
60 years old. They're really, really
Again,
old. And of course, when Aerojet
if you would
refurbished them
like to
make them
ask
the
a
AJ-26
question,
that they put
go
on,
ahead,
on
use the
Antares,
Ask NASA
they did have to
hashtag
refurbish them some.
on
I'm guessing
Twitter,
most of it's things like
and I
bearings,
can
if
answer
there's
them,
any kind of-
NASA can answer them,
any kind of rubber
anybody
seal or
can
anything,
answer
but for
them,
the most
really.
part, metal's perfectly fine sitting there. Especially, aerospace grade metal won't likely be, pitting or rusting out or anything. But I don't know what long-term storage would actually look like, other than likely having to refurbish some parts of it after dozens of years. Yeah, that's got to be one of the longest times an engine's gone from manufacturing.
This is a pretty long question
the
here.
NK-33, which is also flying on the Soyuz 2.1V
but
as well.
Here it is.
So
what is the role of the pilot in the
an
mission?
engine being
Since
used still
Dragon
today
is
that was built in
autonomous,
the 60s.
does the
That's
pilot
just
have to do
insane. Literally
anything
built in
than
the 60s.
just
We're not saying
monitor?
designed in the 60s.
They
Like, kind of
really
hometown, Cedar
don't, kind of. Yeah, they don't really have to do anything other than monitor.
Chari's also a combat veteran.
I don't know. Sorry, hometown pride. Hometown pride. That is.
Hold on. Let me just turn this down.
Okay, so
I believe they don't need to do anything than just monitor. It's really the commander, but if you that does everything else. But if you're talking about the commander's there in case of backup. And basically the pilot's the backup commander.
From F's for console. So what's the difference between Raptor 1 and 2? And will I be doing a video on this? We don't really know too much about Raptor 2, other than it'll be a massive simplification. I should point out real quick for those of you watching, all of that smoke is totally normal. That's not smoke. It's actually condensation. It's quite literally the same thing. Like, I don't know if you guys ever seen dry ice, on a humid day especially, or opening a freezer on a humid day. You'll see some condensation pouring out. It's that exact same thing. And that's because the liquid oxygen they put inside the Falcon 9 is minus 207 degrees Celsius. Stupid cold. If I remember right, that's like 280-something degrees Fahrenheit. Very, very, very cold cryogenic. That's how cold it has to be. Really cold like that in order to take oxygen and make it liquid. You have to obviously chill it down a lot, go from a gas to a liquid, and when you do that, it actually condenses 1,000 times. So obviously space is of utmost importance on a rocket, so having a lot of dense fluids is a very good thing. So obviously they put liquid oxygen inside these tanks, and because it's at minus 207 degrees Celsius when it comes in contact.
Okay, I'm gonna answer one more question before launch here. The areas around the hatch did not look right. Can you explain its condition? Well, to be fair, it is a new Dragon, and the design, I believe, has changed. If you look at Crew Dragon, it did have a worm logo instead of.
Totally normal. Don't panic. This is totally fine.
Instead of
So yeah, I'm assuming we'll learn more from Elon when it comes out, and when Raptor 2 is
It had the NASA worm logo instead of the meatball logo. Oh my god, that's a lot of vapor.
Cosmic perspective out there that will.
That is quite a lot of vapor.
When Raptor 2 starts arriving to
but yeah, I believe it was just because it was a brand new Dragon.
We'll have plenty of news about it.
And I want to know what that is. Like on the NASA feed, is that it?
Have enough data that's not just speculative and not rumors. And if it's a substantial enough change and something that I can actually talk about, that sounds like a great video to me. What's the big difference? So yeah. Let's see here. Thank you so much to Yuma. That is awesome. An aerospace engineering student about to graduate. That is so cool. I really, really appreciate that.
No, that's just everyday astronauts fee. It was, anyways. It's not there anymore. Weird.
Let's see. Double check.
Anyways.
In Discord, am I missing something? Let me know, Discord. I don't know what that announcement you're talking about. I will let you know if it's something that I should be saying. Thank you so much to.
And it appears SpaceX has put a mission recap of Crew 2
8 months of membership. Okay, so
inside
why test the Raptors and vacuum Raptors
of their
S-20? Will they be lit all at the same time in a real flight? So I actually asked Elon that when we had that interview at Starbase in August. He kind of skirted the question a little bit. Not that I don't think he knows the answer, but I don't know if it's something that we actually really know that much about right now. The flight profile likely would be advantageous to light all 6 engines.
Hold on, what was I saying?
Using the sea level Raptors in a vacuum. I'm guessing because at that point you're still trying to. You have a limited launch window.
16 minutes until launch now.
At stage separation, you're going to come back down, right?
I believe stage 2 LOX load has commenced.
You really do actually have a limited amount of time to
starts going a lot slower now. At this point, it starts going a lot slower.
Gravity, not necessarily gravity losses at that point, but you can optimize a little bit for a faster acceleration, and especially at the very beginning of the burn when the vehicle weighs like 1,200 tons.
Yeah, SpaceX has uploaded crew to mission recap. That's what I was saying. There we go.
Then throttle down the center engines and then just use the Raptor video. Yeah. Pants and Discord, yes. 207 degrees Celsius is what SpaceX does to super chill their props. Minus 183 degrees Celsius is the boiling point of oxygen, but you know what? SpaceX chills it down even more. That's how they get extra performance out of the Falcon 9. They get about 3% more performance by chilling it down even more. Let's see here. Let's keep going on some great questions. But yeah, so again, as far as S20, I'm guessing that it will be advantageous to light the
in my city, it's gonna snow like
just a little bit of time, and then
up by a centimeter.
All right.
In like 3 centimeters in over the course of 3 days.
Enzo wants to know, is the launch abort system maneuverable by the mission captain, or the commander, or the pilot, or is it pre-programmed in terms of trajectory and triggering system? And could the Dracos be used for a soft landing rather than splashdown? Great questions. So I did a video a long time ago about, this is a very old video, like 2017, some of my first YouTube videos, was on why Dragon will never land using the Super Dracos. It is a built-in capability of the vehicle. They totally scrapped it. It is not going to be a feature. Basically, by the time you have, it's just not realistic to do, and it's not realistic to have as a backup. You have to certify so much more in order to actually make it so it could do that in case of all these situations. And anytime you add new variables to a mission profile, it just exponentially complicates things. So now you have to say, well, what if the chutes don't untag and we have the landing parachute and the landing engines? Like, you have all these extra new variables. It's not worth it. So that is not what they decided to just totally nix the landing engines, but the whole abort system is autonomous. So it's an autonomous trajectory. It steers and aims itself the way it needs to go. You can manually trigger the abort system, but that whole profile is pre-planned. So, yeah. This is so cool. I'm loving seeing these members for so long. I love that. That's awesome.
Pictures that have some particularly significant meaning to the crew.
So they're still,
here they are.
The next thing we're going to see basically is hearing the Dragons on internal power, and then it's pretty much go time, my friends. Once it's on internal power, it's go time. So we've got about 13 more minutes of questions that I can answer for you guys. Let's see. This is from Shannon. Do you think I'll do another interview with Elon Musk? I really enjoyed that. That was my 3rd interview with him. I hope it was not my last. He said on Twitter the next day that it won't be the last. He wanted to follow up with it. He said he was tired and had a long day, which I totally understand how that goes. And he would like to do another one soon. I think he had a lot of fun showing Starbase off and showing the hard work. That's so cool. Look at that. That's the live track of the ISS right there.
Oh, the ISS is right over Florida.
That's awesome. Yeah, Bob wants to know if we can get a pointy end up, flaming end down. I did actually do that a little bit ago at the very beginning, but I will do it again when we see the vehicle on screen. Let's see. Okay, this is a good question. Go for Launch 13 wants to know, hey Tim, when there's a problem, what is the abort system programmed to do? By the way, before we get into this, let me just do this real quick. Let me listen.
Up at the top, the white cylinder at the very top of the stack. Fuel loading on that stage is complete. Fuel loading is continuing on the first stage. We're about 80% of the way full, and it will finish up at T-minus 6 minutes.
I'd like to know.
Intensified liquid oxygen loading is also underway on the first stage. We're about 3/4 of the way full.
What did I do?
And we began loading liquid oxygen on the second stage
for
about
the inspiration
5 minutes ago.
For launch
liquid
timeline.
oxygen loading is the last thing to finish. We'll wrap up first stage at T-minus 3 minutes, second stage at T-minus 2 minutes. Coming up, we're going to do final checks of various engine systems. Our thrust vector controllers
wow,
are going to
dude.
be moved.
If you
We
look
call
at
them
my
TVC wiggles, where we move the
Inspiration
engines back and
4
forth slightly. We'll also
launch
be moving
timeline.
throttle
Look
valves
at that.
on the engines to make sure that they
Oh,
are
I put
responding to
strong
commands
back
from the ground
retract in there.
preparation for flight.
Oh, I
The
should have
Dragon
done that
mission
here.
director has reported their team is working no issues. We're going to hear from Dragon in about a minute here on the countdown.
I
The
should have
count
put
checks are
that in
complete.
here. That
You
would have
can
been
see the
nice. I
axis arm
can't
is
really put that
retracted.
in there
The
now,
launch
though.
escape system is armed. Crew is strapped in and they're ready to go.
Can't
They'll
really
get
edit
their
it
final
at this
instructions
point right now.
T-minus 10 minutes. They'll be told to configure their displays for launch, and that setup will give the crew insight into how the launch is proceeding and provide them constant updates on vehicle health. At T-minus 5 minutes, we'll be in terminal count, and Dragon will go to internal power, and we'll hear continued call-outs on the countdown net as we get closer to liftoff. And finally, easy to say, range is go, weather is go. So right now, Courtney, we're
Weather
coming
is
up on
currently go
T-minus
and
10
range is
minutes.
go.
One of the things that we'll hear on Dragon flights that we don't hear on other ones is the abort call-outs during the countdown. Can you enlighten us a little bit on what goes on with that?
Yeah, John, great to hear that everything is going well. We're continuing to track that Dragon and Falcon 9 are ready for launch. But just in case anything were to happen, Dragon is fully prepared to initiate an abort. Upon liftoff, you'll be hearing number and letter combinations on Dragon's trip uphill, which will mark different abort zones throughout the flight, the number signifying the stage of flight, and the letter as the abort
Dragon
zone.
Spacex,
The first
confirmed crew displays are configured for launch.
I'll be right back.
Copy. Endurance displays are configured for launch.
And copy that. Crew 3, we are honored to have you at the controls today as the first crew to fly aboard Dragon Endurance. We wish you a great mission, field look, Godspeed, and enjoy the ride.
Thanks, Sarah. And sometimes when you try to fly on Halloween, you get a trick instead of a treat. But how honored and appropriate to get to fly Endurance on Veterans Day. We're proud and honored to represent the SpaceX and NASA teams as we head to the ISS to live and work on groundbreaking science for the next 6 months.
And there we have it, some final words from the crew aboard Dragon, and a good luck from the Corps here on the...
Super cool. Okay, so I will answer those questions now about the launch abort system. So basically, its whole job is to, if there's a problem, if it detects like a rupture in the tank. So I don't know if they still do this, but back in the day, they literally would run 3 wires down the length of the booster, all the way up and down from second stage down to the first stage. They'd run wires, and if any 2 of those wires all of a sudden lost contact, it would automatically trigger the launch abort system. And what happens when that would obviously mean that there's a massive rupture and a massive failure. So as soon as any 2 of those 3 wires were tripped, then, Bob's your uncle, the whole vehicle will all of a sudden, be probably exploding. So the launch abort system is triggered at that point. And what they do is they basically let go of the clamps that are holding on to the Crew Dragon, which sits on top, right here, it sits on top of the second stage, and there's some clamps that basically hold down onto it. Those will simultaneously release as they fire up the Super Draco motors. They are very quick to spool up because they don't have turbines. They don't have turbo pumps. They are completely pressure fed. So as soon as that fuel, the UDMH and N2O4, the hypergolic propellants, as soon as they reach the combustion chamber, they're going to spontaneously combust and start producing thrust and pull the vehicle off of the rocket in a hurry. They pull something like 8 Gs. They can pull more than that, but if I remember it, I think 7 to 8 is pretty standard. But yeah, that's how the launch abort system works. And then once it runs out of fuel, it's still going to be arcing up. They'll then eject the trunk off of the Dragon capsule. They'll deploy drogue chutes almost immediately because they don't fly very high. They only get maybe 3 kilometers up an altitude.
Well, you know how I said I'm a
It's
Leafs
not very
fan?
high.
Toronto got a good goal.
They deploy the drogue chutes, and then they deploy the main chutes right away in time to be able to land and splash down safely downrange. So they've had to test that with both. A pad abort has the ability to abort while on. They're saying something's coming up at 6 minutes. But they have the ability to abort on the launch pad or while in flight. They've had to do both a pad abort test, and they also did an in-flight abort test as well. So very, very, very cool. Thank you, Jonathan, for your super chat.
Whose feed did I watch?
You're pretty close around T-6. I'll probably be listening in a lot more.
Crew 2.
I'm sorry if I'm missing your super chats. Again, thank you guys
For the
so
launch.
much for your
I believe I
support.
watched the Everyday
back.
Astronaut
Don't forget,
one.
I'm going to be streaming again tonight, assuming that Rocket Lab is still on track to launch in just about 2 hours. So
I am not going to be streaming that, sadly.
Take a little break, and then
Do you want to grow your YouTube channel? Do you want?
Yes, I would love to, but not right now.
Fill of RP1 on the first stage. Now the first and second stage are completely filled with that RP1 kerosene. Now just under 6 minutes to launch until that
it was
instantaneous
6 months
launch
ago.
window today. The next milestone will be for Dragon to transition to configure for terminal count, and that's when Dragon's onboard computers will take control of the vehicle, and Dragon will be on internal power, no longer relying on those lines
I was basically
from
dead
the
inside
ground.
on this launch.
So we have a lot of really good questions here in my Discord channel that I wanted to bring up too.
NASA
and
feed.
There's a lot of them about the
So
abort systems. The abort system, I do want to run you. I have
Why
two
not?
really good videos.
And on that launch, I had to
I'm
whisper
pretty
because it was
passionate
the
about 'em.
middle of
But
the
one that's
night.
maybe the most
Today, I do
comprehensive
not
as far
have
as
to
abort
whisper
systems
like
is
this.
actually,
I do not have to
why
talk
doesn't
like this.
Starship
I can talk
have
like
an abort
this.
system? I have a video called Why
You
Doesn't
know?
Starship
And
Have
my
an Abort
room's
System?
not
We run you through
soundproof,
every
so
time
that's why I had
launch
to
abort systems
whisper.
ever had to be used in human
I don't know why I'm
spaceflight. Ever.
talking like this
How many
because
times it would have saved lives?
it's
The answer
fun.
is it's only been used twice, both times on Soyuz. Once as a pad abort way back in like 1966 or something on like Soyuz 4, I think. Strong brackets retracting. That's the thing that holds the
All right,
rocket
John, some
vertically.
good calls. Dragon is now on internal power, and Falcon 9 propellant tanks are pressurizing for strong back retract.
Cool. Okay, so that was like way back in the 60s, or maybe it was the 80s. I don't remember. It was a long time ago. But also then again in 2018 for MS-10, another Soyuz launch, the Korolev cross didn't quite work out. The Soyuz boosters didn't detach. One of them didn't detach properly. It led to a failure of the Soyuz, and they had to use the launch abort system then in 2018. Those are the only 2 times a launch abort system's ever been used to save lives. The only other mission where it would have saved a life would have been on Challenger. If, say, the shuttle would have had a launch abort capability, which it did not. It would not have helped in Columbia, and it would not have helped for the first, was it Vostok mission? And the first Soyuz, and one of the Soyuz missions. So all the times that people died in spaceflight, only Challenger would have been prevented because of a launch abort system. So again, watch that video. Also, I have one like I have a good video about why is SpaceX and
Imagine the
Boeing and
escape
Blue
system
Origin
gets
using
used here.
pusher launch abort systems instead of
That'd
a tractor
be
launch abort
really
system.
terrible.
So I have 2 or 3 videos specifically about launch abort systems. I think they're really cool. So give those a watch if you need more launch abort in your life. Look at that. It is fuel totally pressurized, ready to
Also,
go.
if you like a space Discord, this is not a paid advertisement, but go to SpaceX KSP Discord.
Coming up here shortly.
SpaceX KSP,
Stage
your
1
space
LOX load
Discord.
complete.
Stage 1 LOX load is complete. 2 minutes, 56 seconds.
Awesome.
Falcon 9 is preparing for liftoff at 9:03
Everything's
p.m.
looking good, guys.
Eastern
they are ready
Time.
To go. We're at T-minus 2.5 minutes. Again, I'm sorry if I'm missing your questions. After we get to stage separation and Dragon capsule deployment and Dragon deployment, I will continue to answer questions. So again, thank you for your patience. We have some really good questions in our Discord channel. I'll get to those as soon as I can too. If you want to join our Discord channel, go to patreon.com/everydayastronaut. There you can get access to our awesome Discord channel. Hi, Discord. We'll try to get to that hydrogen one in a little bit. I love that question. All right, let's listen in here. We're coming up on T-minus 2 minutes.
At about 90 seconds before launch, as we see the propellants come back down off of the strong back.
Oh, it's 2 seconds off.
Prepare for liftoff.
I missed this.
It's good enough. Coffee on me, Tim. Well, Tim probably appreciates that.
Stage 2 LOX load complete.
That's pretty epic for Tim. And whoever's
Dragon
watching,
isn't
thank
auto
you
idle.
for tuning into the stream. Falcon 9, 1 minute and 37 seconds until liftoff. Falcon 9 is currently preparing for liftoff. Stages are currently filled with
liquid
the
oxygen.
liquid propellants and
Dragon is also
kerosene.
in auto idle.
The
flight
liquid
computers
kerosene
onboard
and
Dragon
liquid
maintaining their
oxygen.
calculations, standing by for
T
the
minus
T-minus
1
0 mark.
or
We will get a final go no go.
That next call out will be that Dragon is in countdown. Standing by now for that call.
FTS is armed, Falcon 9 is in startup, and is now controlling. Dragon is in countdown.
1 minute until launch. Falcon 9.
1 minute before launch. Just 47 seconds to go. Everything is
Dragon,
ready for an
SpaceX,
on-time launch today.
go for launch.
Endurance copies. Go for launch.
Ground teams are
Dragon
ready, and Crew
Endurance, that's
3
what it's
is
called.
ready
Hey,
for
Dad!
liftoff.
Come
Heading
watch
for
it!
that instantaneous launch window.
He has 30 seconds until launch. Falcon 9 is currently now controlling Crew Dragon launch.
20 seconds to liftoff.
T-minus 15 seconds.
15 seconds until liftoff. Falcon 9 is 10
10
seconds.
9, 8, 7, 6.
Got my father here.
5.
Both Leaf
4,
fans.
3.
Say hello to YouTube.
2.
Hi, YouTube.
1.
Go Leafs, go.
0. Ignition.
Ignition.
And liftoff.
Got Crew Dragon liftoff.
3.
Copy 1 Alpha. Laboratory in orbit. The International Space Station. Vehicle is pitching downrange.
The Falcon 9 is pitching down range. Why is
And that's the call we want to hear. Good performance on that first stage so far.
T plus 30 seconds. Falcon 9 powered by 9 Merlin 1Ds. Pushing Dragon into low Earth orbit on the way to the International Space Station.
Power and telemetry nominal. Stage 1 throttle down.
And we're into the throttle bucket. In preparation for Max Q.
$50 seconds into flight. Max Q.
Throttle the engines back up.
Max Q has occurred. Falcon 9 is currently performing nominally.
Stage 1 throttle up.
Throttle up, Falcon 9, Max Q. Falcon 9 has throttled up from Max Q. Falcon 9 Crew 3 is currently on a nominal trajectory. 1 Bravo. The 1B call out Bravo is NATO, or the NATO alphabet for B. There is 7 launch abort modes. 1A and 1B, and then 2A, 2B, 2C, 2D, and 2 Echo. So that's 1 Alpha, 1 Bravo. Alpha is A, B is Bravo, and then 2 Alpha, 2 Bravo, 2 Charlie, 2 Delta, 2 Echo. See, I know the NATO alphabet. Falcon 9 nominal trajectory properly.
Stage 1 throttle down.
Stage 1 throttling down at 3.5 Gs.
I love watching the exhaust plume expand as they get higher and higher and the atmosphere gets thinner and thinner.
Getting ready for MECO.
MECO.
Okay, Miko.
Stage separation.
Woo!
Copy 2 Alpha.
Alright, we have ignition of the second stage. And you saw that green flash.
It will be normal, that little ring that fell off, that's normal. If you saw that thing falling off the engine, totally normal. Don't worry, guys.
Station.
Yep, they are on their way.
On the left side, first stage, you can see the titanium grid fins coming out, the streaks of the exhaust of the second stage engine going by, and the lights of Florida down in the background.
Position signal.
That's right, and on your right, that second stage glowing.
So cool. So let me explain real quick, too, why the second stage engine glows like this. you'll notice that further to the right, it's not glowing at all, and especially deep into the right. That's because all of that is actually cooled by the liquid fuel of the engine. They run it through the walls of the engine in the chamber and at the throat, and then all the way down to this. You can kind of see a little bit.
Okay,
Of, looks like
that's a
little
lot of
snail-looking
events.
thing here, kind of to the right of that bright glowing section. And that's where they actually are injecting some of the exhaust gas from the gas generator, and that creates this film layer in between the very hot exhaust of the main engine and the nozzle wall. And now that nozzle
4
wall
minutes
is so
into flight
hot,
already.
it also still radiates a lot of heat because it's made of niobium. So they allow it to get white hot like that and radiate a lot of the heat out into the vacuum of space.
So yeah, normally they say red hot, but white is a level hotter than
Relight
red.
for the entry burn will come at T plus 7 minutes and 30 seconds.
If it's white,
3 minutes from now.
hot,
Currently, the
do
first
not
stage about
touch it.
166 kilometers
You
up.
will burn your
Continue
finger
to
off,
trust the for
or your
another
hand
brief
off,
period.
depending on what you touch it with. I don't know why I'm talking like this again, but
Meanwhile, that second
whatever.
stage still propelling the Crew 3 astronauts up the eastern seaboard, and it will continue to fire. That's about a 6-minute burn to deliver the astronauts into orbit.
Trajectory nominal.
Trajectory nominal. Beautiful. We did have a good question from DoHack12 in our Discord.
Next
Why are there
event
streaks like that?
coming up is going to be
actually not
stage
necessarily
1
camera
entry
exposure issues. It's actually
of
those little
the
tiny
Falcon 9.
fins in the manifold. And those little tiny
And
fins in the manifold.
the previous event
that hold
was
kind of
second
the
stage
exhaust manifold against the
ignition
nozzle, will
on
just,
the Falcon
have a
9.
little bit of extra
Falcon 9
effect
is currently
on which
performing
part of that
nominally
hot-
on
or
Dragon
the
with
cooler
Dragon
exhaust gas from
on
the gas
board.
generator can go. So it kind of gets streaked out through those little fins that hold it together. Yeah, hope that makes sense. I did a terrible job explaining it. If you look up a picture of looking up into the nozzle of an F1 engine, you will actually see little fins like that help put because there is a nozzle extension on the F1 engine. Pretty cool stuff.
On the second stage, it's such a large amount of propellant. It takes a while for second stage to really accelerate. The crew right now, it looks like they're pulling about...
Trajectory nominal.
Trajectory nominal.
Sweet.
Looks like we're pulling about 1.5 Gs.
Yeah, right on cue, those check-ins on the second stage performance. Everything is still looking good on that second stage. The next milestone on the second stage will be SECO. And we're getting our views now from inside of Endurance, our first views of the crew on their way to the International Space Station.
That's a very smooth ride.
So they're only
minute
experiencing
away
about
from entry.
2 to 3 Gs or so now. They will peak out at 3.5 Gs, I think, is the peak acceleration that NASA allows the astronauts to experience. So the vehicle has to be designed around being able to decelerate enough and throttle down enough to maintain an acceleration no greater than 3.5 Gs. 4.5 G maximum, is that right? If you get confirmation on that, I'd love
Another good check-in with the crew, confirming everything is still looking good so far on both ends. That next milestone coming at 7 minutes and 30 seconds will be entry burn start.
Yeah, coming up on.
Currently waiting for the call out from the SpaceX propulsion responsible engineer that the 3 Merlin 1D engines have lit to begin slowing down the first stage prior to entering the Earth's
Stage 2
atmosphere.
FTS is safe. Stage 1 entry burn is in
Entry
startup.
burn?
There we go. First stage is slowing itself down as it re-enters the
First
atmosphere.
stage 1 entry burn to start up. We've lit the center engine. We've got the 2
Entry
side
burn,
engines, 3
start up,
engines
Falcon
running.
9.
This is a
Let's
27-second
go.
burn. This will slow the first stage down. We'll then enter the atmosphere where the grid fins begin to work, and then we will fire the single center engine as we approach the drone ship.
Stage 1 entry burn shut
So
down.
we lit up 3 of the 9 Merlin engines for that entry burn.
Confirmation entry burn shutdown.
And meanwhile, that second stage is less than a minute away from cutoff.
Yes, stage 2 has flight termination system. Everything.
Stage 2 in terminal guidance.
They will cut flight termination system right when they're basically at orbital velocity for the stage 2.
Yeah, they're at orbital velocity, basically.
Shannon.
Copy, Shannon.
There's that call for Shannon.
Stage 1 is transonic.
Stage 1 decelerating as we prepare for entry burn. But our attention is right now looking at stage 2 as we get ready for shutdown.
Yes. Beautiful shutdown.
And back shutdown.
Stage 1 landing burn.
Dragon SpaceX, nominal orbit insertion.
I swear you could actually see
And
the
the
entry
second
burn
stage
from
has
stage
done
2.
its job.
That
Our
can't be
Crew
right,
3
can it?
astronauts have been delivered into orbit.
Here we go, baby.
Stage 1 landing leg deploy.
Landing leg deploy.
Endurance copies. We feel good go.
Come on.
File confirms we are in space.
Dragon SpaceX, launch escape system is disarmed.
Come on, looks like Falcon 9 might have landed.
SpaceX is cheering.
Stage 1 landing is confirmed.
Landing confirmed, baby.
And we've heard the call out. Stage 1 landing is confirmed.
At T plus 9 minutes and 56 seconds, Falcon 9 landing has been confirmed. Stage 2 is in orbit and is currently performing rendezvous with the ISS.
12 minutes into flight.
Beautiful. Perfect flight.
At T plus 12 minutes and 3 seconds, Dragon will separate from the second stage of Falcon 9.
To that second stage. Again, that next milestone coming in about 2 minutes. That second stage will separate, and Crew Dragon will be flying free.
And Courtney, right now,
What is the
Falcon 9
zero-G
second
indicator
stage
of
is
Crew
still
3? That's a
attached
good
to the
question.
Dragon capsule. When it's time, Dragon will command separation from the Falcon 9 second stage. Right now, that second stage, under control of its flight computer, is essentially going through a sequence to idle the second stage, make sure we're not pulsing any of the cold gas thrusters, the engine has been purged out. Essentially, anything that might cause motion of the second stage, we're making sure that all of that is eliminated so that when Dragon separates, it's got a very stable platform to move away from.
Okay, awesome. Absolutely flawless. They finally get a video feed of the Falcon 9.
I believe the cheering in the background, they're getting video back of Falcon 9 first stage on drone ship as we get ready for Dragon separation.
My goodness, are they going to show the video feed of the drone ship or not?
That's right, John. Separation coming just 10 seconds from now. Standing by for that call.
So my timeline's a little bit off.
Expected loss of signal, wallops.
And again, we are standing by.
Oh, there we go. Trunk
There we
separation.
go.
At 12 minutes
That's where it was still attached
and
to the
11
second
seconds.
stage, and now it has
Dragon,
detached.
CE, welcome to orbit. Hope you enjoyed the ride.
Not like
from
this.
S9. Stand by for words from LD.
And Endurance, LD here. On behalf of the SpaceX launch and recovery teams, it was a pleasure to be part of this mission with you. Enjoy your holidays amongst the stars. We'll be waving as you fly by. Cheers.
Wow. Incredible views of the crew now in orbit on their way
Thanks,
to the
guys.
International
Endurance.
Space
It was a great
Station.
ride, better than we imagined.
Thomas has now ridden 3 spacecrafts.
And some
That's
final
crazy.
words from the crew as well. There they are, our Crew 3 astronauts.
And
Now in
Crew
orbit.
3 is
The next
officially in
milestone
orbit.
will be the deployment of the nose cone. That'll be about a 5-minute process. It'll expose those forward bulkhead Dracos and will prepare them for checkouts as well.
Courtney, watching them in zero-G right now, working their displays, it looks so easy, but we've had the benefit of watching the launch team, the spacecraft team, the NASA team, everybody working here for the last weeks, working through
Well,
this,
apparently the zero-G thing is a turtle.
it come out looking just so easy right now.
Yep, it's been a long time coming, and we're so excited to see them in orbit.
Dragon, SpaceX, nominal
Apparently I don't have anything.
dehumidifier activation and service section Draco checkouts.
ETSA will be opening visor shortly.
Cool. So while they're kind of just wrapping up here, we have a lot of good questions here. So Jeremy, we're hoping to get the metal version of the Falcon 9 rocket that we have. This is again this was a total prototype mock-up, an engineering mock-up. There will be a painted and metal version of this vehicle up in our shop. That comes in really cool. I'm actually almost most excited about the packaging. Again, thanks to Gravity Coast for the awesome graphic design there. It's seriously like super cool, store worthy. We're hoping to like actually put it in stores like Kennedy Space Center, Johnson Space Center, stuff like that. We actually hope to have it on shelves, is what I'm saying, which is the goal for it. We'll see. We're doing a pretty small run first, but we're hoping to actually have them beginning shipping in December.
There we go.
And maybe being able to get them to you before the holidays. That's been the push for a while, but we will see. So, yeah, we don't even have a price confirmed yet. We're waiting to get the final units and get everything done. It should. So, as you probably know, with model rockets, they tend to be expensive. This is going to be, I think, one of the highest detailed ones you can get, and most durable, and definitely the coolest. And I think we're going to be under 400. Which I'm really excited for. That's the goal is under 400. We should be doing it. So.
Well, that's all that you're gonna get from me.
Metal's gonna be awesome because I'm always afraid to touch my all my rocket models. I feel like they're so fragile. Having it be made out of metal and something you can actually
of a
cat
face
knocks over
cam
or a kid grabs onto
for
it and not
once,
screaming that it's gonna break.
Just once.
Yeah.
Never again am I gonna show you a face cam. For a rocket launch stream. But are you guys ready? Hello. Why hello there. My name's Jesse. And I was your guide today for the Crew 3 mission. I don't know where this section's going now. But yeah, anyways, thank you guys for watching the stream. And go Leafs go. Anyways, thank you guys for watching this stream. If you did watch it, I'm extremely grateful for that. Anyways, thanks for watching. I'll see you later.